Hi guys, welcome back to the podcast. My name's Em. If you don't know, now you know. How are you guys? How have your last 3-4 weeks been? Shockingly, I didn't upload all month. Here's the thing. First of all, who'd you see? Nope. How was your month? Who'd you see? What'd you do? Did you eat good food? There we go. Kind of got it on the second try. I have a little Celsius today. It is 5 p.m. I should not be drinking this now because I'm gonna get anxious, but that's okay. Anyways, how was your guys' month? I also just realized I didn't close the door. It's gonna be a shit show of an episode. Isabel's showering. You can probably hear the shower. I didn't close the door. You can probably hear the road noise. But we're here. And it's gonna be fine. Last episode was a shit show too. In the car, I had a really good intention for that whole episode, but it was 34 degrees outside and my phone kept overheating, so I couldn't actually record. However, how are you guys? I'm very excited to be back. I had a really rough month. September is never an easy month. If you want to know more about that, go listen to my last episode where I talk about why my birthday makes me sad. Yeah, September's just a rough month, but we're working on it. We're trying to get out of the funk that has been the beginning of fall. But how are you guys? So I had my birthday. I didn't do anything for my birthday. Shocker. And didn't really do anything the weekend after. I just don't really celebrate my birthday ever, and this year was no exception. What else happened through the rest of September? Nothing. Well, okay, here's the thing. It is the 3rd when I'm recording this. On October 3rd, he asked me what day it was. Hey, what day is it? It's October 3rd. I've been saying that all day, and none of my bosses got the reference, but it's okay. It's October 3rd. This past weekend, so last weekend of September, my mom and I went on my birthday trip. I'm putting birthday trip in quotes because we were going to go regardless, but it just so happened to be the last weekend of my birthday month, so we used it as my birthday present type of thing. We went up to, I don't even really know how to explain what it is. So up at Candle Lake, I live in Saskatchewan, for those of you who don't know. I get DMs all the time, especially after I talk about stuff that happens particularly here. I get so many DMs of people being like, where do you live? Blah, blah, blah. I live in Saskatchewan. I'm in Saskatoon right now, but we went up to Candle Lake. At Candle Lake, there's the Hannon Creek Education Facility and Research Lab or something. It's called something like that. I'll link it in the show notes. But essentially, it's this big camp that they host a bunch of events throughout the spring, summer, and fall. So we went to the title of it is the Women's Outdoor Weekend, so they call it the WOW Weekend or whatever. It was incredible. First of all, such a cool thing to get to go do with my mom. We have not ever really done trips with just the two of us. It's always been all 5 of us are going, or she would take the 3 of us. So it was really, really fun to get to do something with just me and her. And it was awesome. So the whole premise of the weekend is you go up Friday, you're there until Sunday afternoon-ish, and you do different sessions all day Saturday that are teaching you different outdoorsy skills and stuff. So we did fire starting and shelter building and what's it called? I want to say outdoor nearing, and that's not right. Orienteering? Also probably not right. Essentially learning how to navigate yourself using maps and a little bit of compass, but the whole thing. We made mallets. You had to whittle wood into these it was so cool. And the entire group that was there, I think there was about probably 30 some people that went up, not including staff. Everybody that was there was incredible. The instructors were awesome. It was just right up my alley of, hey, let's go stay in some little rinky-dink cabins in the middle of the woods for an entire weekend and learn how to build tents. I learn how to build shelters out of tarps. It was awesome. But we did that last weekend, and we're gonna go again. They do a spring and a fall, and now a winter session. So we're gonna go next spring, and then next fall I think we're gonna try and convince my sister to come because she'll be 19, so she can go. But it was just one of those things that the entire weekend was so memorable and so enjoyable, and just everything about it was insane. And it kind of was inspo for this whole episode, which we've kind of talked about. Oh, you've seen the title. We're going to talk about whoa, we are going to talk about digital detoxes and why they're important, why you should do them, and blah, 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 blah. We've kind of touched on that before, but this weekend was a good reminder to me for like why I need to actually focus on limiting my screen time and stuff like that. But it was just such a cool experience. I've posted a couple pictures on my Instagram, and I'm sure some will go up today on the podcast's Instagram, and I'll post some videos. And it was just like, it was so much fun. It was such a cool experience, and to get to do it with my mom. And yeah, it was just like, oh, it was so much fun. September is a hard month, man. And like, even it's beginning of October now, and today I think was the first day that I realized like, oh, hey, you know, we are getting to the time of year where it is tough to remind yourself why you enjoy existing. We're going to talk about that in next week's episode, just like wellness habits and stuff during the fall and winter, because let me tell you, I haven't been to the gym in like 3 days, which I know is not that drastic. I'm not saying it's like crazy to not go for 3 days. I have wanted to go for the past 2 days, but waking up at 4:30 is a lot more difficult when it is pitch black outside. A month and a half ago, I would wake up at 4:30 and the sun was already starting to come up. Now I get home from the gym and I walk to work and the sun is just starting to come. Like, it's just such a shift in your lifestyle, but we're going to talk about that next week. This week, I don't think I have anything else to say for like preamble-y stuff. I'm trying to think. Went to Candle. Oh my god, I got to show my mom how to canoe. Well, I didn't show her how to canoe. I went kayaking. But there was a lady who, her partner actually owns like a kayak and canoe club in the city that I live in. So she went canoeing with my mom, and my mom had a lot of fun, which is awesome because my mom is not really a water person. I am a water person, like through and through. I would spend all day, every day in the water if I could. My mom is not the same. She enjoys it, but definitely not her like most peaceful place to be. So it was really fun getting to bring her canoeing. And also just like, I know that Candle is not super far north for anybody who like lives in the middle of the province, but when you live in southern Saskatchewan, Candle Lake feels pretty fucking far north. But just like, you get to see like the start of the northern climate of the province, and just the difference in like the trees that they have there and the plants that are like, it's just such a different vibe, and it was so much fun, and it really reinstated my desire to travel further up north. Probably not this winter because it gets cold as fuck up there, but definitely next spring, summer, and fall. I want to do more like in province trips up north. But here's my thing. So one of my like bucket list items for my life is to visit all of the national parks, both in Canada and in the States. Like, I want to do that so bad. It'll take me forever, but I so badly want to do it. And a lot of the national parks that I'm wanting to visit in the States next summer are like, you know, a 12 to 16 hour drive, which is very doable in a day or two. Tell me why. There is, first of all, a lot of the parks and a lot of the lakes up north here, you cannot drive to. You have to fly in by float plane, or you have to boat in, which, not the end of the world, does make trips significantly more expensive when you have to book a float plane ride to get up to a lake. Or there's a couple like northern Alberta that I want to go to, and it's like there's no driving instructions up there because there's no roads. Or it's like a 24-hour drive to get to Alberta, the province beside me up north. But I can go like a decent chunk into the States for like 16 hours from here. Doesn't make sense. But yeah, so it is just difficult planning trips here that are like lower budget. I feel like traveling in the States, or like doing national parks in the States, I should say, is so much more, like, you can make it so much more budget friendly compared to like, if I wanted to go to national parks in BC, for example, I either have to fly in, which it's so absurdly expensive to fly to BC right now, or I have to drive for 30 plus hours. Why would I do that when I can go to the States? You know, like, it's just, I do really want to make an effort next year to travel more, do more national parks, start my, like, the only national park I've ever been to. Can we talk about this? I went to Banff when I was 13 through school. I have 2 national parks in the province that I live in. Grasslands is like super far south. Grasslands is like closest to the border that you can possibly get. And then there's Prince Albert National Park. I live 2 hours from Prince Albert, like from the national park. Never been. I used to live 4 hours away from Grasslands. Never been. So I have 1 national park checked off on my bucket list of what's going to be 100 between here and the States. But anyways, it was a very fun weekend. First off, before we actually get into what I want to talk about all week, can we talk about how long my hair's gotten? If you don't remember me chopping all my hair off dramatically in May, I did that because Kendall cut all her hair off, and then she called me and then convinced me that my hair would look cute short as well. So I chopped all my hair off. Kendall's hair looked very cute. Mine did not. We are very slowly growing it out. It's getting there. But anyways, so had a super fun weekend. Was such an incredible experience, and 10 out of 10 recommend anybody who has that type of thing available to them. Go do it. It was really fun. And one of my favorite parts about it was it forced me to be a lot more intentional with the time spent on my phone, mainly because I was busy. It was 3 days of busy. And also, it's just such a different vibe there. Everybody there kind of used it as an excuse to limit how much they're on their phone and what they're using their phone for and all that. So I went into it wanting to be super intentional and purposeful with the time spent on my phone. I will say I definitely spent more time on my phone than what I originally planned for, but it still made me think about it, which honestly, I'll take it, because as somebody with a chronically high screen time, part of which I like to contribute to my ADHD, but I don't want to use that as an excuse or a crutch. It is just a factor in it. I will never turn down an opportunity to lower my screen time or be more intentional about the time that I spend on my phone. So anyways, this week I wanted to talk about digital detoxing, the power of disconnecting from your phone, and yeah. So basically, we're going to explore kind of the concept of a digital detox, the benefits of taking time away from your phone, practical strategies for reducing screen time in a hyper-connected world. I also want to talk about how constant phone use impacts your mental health, your wellness, your physical health, productivity, relationships, and essentially just why stepping back from your phone and computer and TV and everything else can help you lead a much more balanced and potentially fulfilling life. So, what is a digital detox? This is the part that I think we've talked about in a different episode, but I couldn't remember what episode it was in. But essentially, a digital detox is a period of time when a person refrains from using digital devices such as smartphones, computers, and social media platforms. The purpose is typically to reduce stress, improve focus, and reconnect with the offline world. So, a couple different reasons why we need breaks from our phones or from our devices. First of all, just the mental health aspect of constantly being on your phone. Constant phone use can increase anxiety and depression. FOMO is a huge thing that can be contributed to obsessive phone use. FOMO is just fear of missing out. The consumption or the rate at which we consume content from people that we both know and people that we don't know is insane. And definitely not, our brains were not designed to have that constant stream of heavy FOMO due to other people's experiences that we're seeing. Also just the whole thing of hey, the more you're on your phone and the more you're consuming other people's content, can't talk. The more you're on your phone and the more you're consuming other people's content, the frequency at which you're going to compare yourself to those people increases. The more people that you're seeing and the more lifestyles that you're seeing, the more realistic it is for you to feel inadequate in your own life, because this content that you're consuming that feels so attainable for all of these people isn't actually attainable. That's not actually a realistic lifestyle and a realistic experience that these people are living. It's just not, it's not realistic for the normal person. It is not realistic for somebody who works a 9 to 5. It is not realistic for somebody who doesn't fit standard beauty ideals. So they're not going to blow up on TikTok because of how they look. So then they're not going to lead this big career in social media because of their physical appearance. The whole thing. You compare yourself a lot more to the people that you're seeing when you see more and more of those people. There's also, there's physical health concerns that come along with this. Your eye strain. Do you know how fucking hard your eyes have to work all day, every day when you are staring at a screen from the moment you wake up until the moment you go to bed? Terrible. Poor posture. Who has tech neck? Me. I work at a chiro clinic, and let me tell you the amount of hours that I have spent when it's like a quieter period in the week, the amount of hours that I have spent researching the effects of poor posture. Am I having a stroke? The amount of hours that I've spent researching the effects of poor posture due to cell phone use and ergonomic setup, or unergonomic setups at your desk and stuff like that. It's terrible. It's so bad for you. Do your research. Make sure that there's so many different things you can do to help tech neck or help just your general posture. Make sure you're stretching every day. Make sure you are foam rolling. Make sure you're taking breaks from your phone and correcting, self-correcting your posture throughout the day. The whole thing. Also, everybody knows what blue light is. Everybody knows it disrupts your sleep, but I think people underestimate the actual impact that it has on your long-term health due to that long-term effect of reduced sleep. So disrupted sleep due to blue light, a lot of it comes from your melatonin production in your brain, which is why people are supplementing melatonin more frequently now than I think they probably ever have. There's settings on your phone you can do to reduce blue light. You can turn your phone red so that there's no blue light coming off of your phone. There's things to do with that. Also, just the whole concept of your dopamine receptors are so fucking fried. Guarantee it, because I know mine are. The frequent notifications and distractions from your phone and your computer and whatever else, tends to reduce your productivity in your day-to-day life due to that constant desire to have multiple streams of stimuli all at once, which is not healthy. It makes it really difficult to get into a deep work phase and be super focused on one task. And there's that whole thing that people will post on TikTok of I know you're gonna scroll in 3 seconds, so I better make a good first impression. And it's so true. The amount of times that I scroll to a TikTok, I get bored within the first 2 seconds, and then I scroll to the next one, and that's how I spend my entire day. Embarrassing. Don't do that. The long-term effects on your relationships in your life that can be caused due to increased screen time is also crazy. It makes it really hard for people to feel present in in-person interactions because there's, again, you want this constant multiple stream of stimuli in your life, and sometimes having a one-on-one conversation with someone does not give that same stimuli as sitting at home having your TV on while you're watching Netflix, being on your phone on TikTok, and having a YouTube video playing in the background. Why is that a normalized thing? Why is that a thing that why is that a thing that so many of us have done? Is have multiple different audio stimuli. Oh my god. It stresses me out. Being present with your friends and family and coworkers and whoever else can help strengthen the connections that you have in life and also foster real conversations, which, get off your phone, talk to people. Okay, so benefits of digital detox, here's the thing. I saw a TikTok the other day, which I hadn't even really thought about the fact that people were doing this as a long-term thing. Digital detoxes are not intended to be a multi-week thing, all condensed out. It's not supposed to be a month-long thing. I mean, if you want to go a month without anything, power to you. Do whatever you want. But the whole purpose of these detoxes is shorter, maybe a couple days, or maybe you start off with things 1 day a week you do not go on your phone. Benefits of digital detoxing. Taking time off allows your brain to kind of reset and increase attention spans. So this goes along with your dopamine receptors and kind of having to retrain your brain into processing things in a normal way. Such a fucking weird thing that's where we're at, that you have to retrain your brain in order to not be a slave to TikTok, but you do. Improved sleep quality, both quality and just sleep health in general. less screen time, especially right before bed, can typically help your sleep quality. I know a lot of people, and I try to do this, the whole like, hey, no phone after 8 p.m. and no phone before 6 a.m. or however early, you know, like setting designated times a day where you are not on your phone. I do that kind of. I will say I am an iPad kid, and I like watch YouTube to fall asleep, which again, like slightly contributed to my ADHD. I need some form of stimuli in order to help myself fall asleep, because otherwise my brain goes a little spiral and suddenly it's 4 a.m. and I have not slept yet and my alarm is going off in 30 minutes. So I pick like a boring YouTube video to watch before bed, and I'm normally out within like 10 minutes. But for me, a big chunk of it is not scrolling for hours and hours and hours before I go to bed. You can experience a lot of mental clarity and creativity when you take some time away from your phone. Disconnecting from constant input and constant stimuli can spark creativity and clearer thinking. A big thing with the relationships in your life, less presence in like face-to-face interactions, the less that you experience face-to-face one-on-one conversations typically correlates to the more isolation or like heavier isolation in your life due to screen absorption. Your brain contributes the content that you're consuming through the day as like, hey, this is a conversation that I'm having with someone. This is an interaction. And it's simply not. Like it's not an interaction. It is a one-sided, you are watching somebody else's TikTok, and that's not the same, and it cannot be a replacement for face-to-face interactions with people, and it's becoming that. So it can help with it can help strengthen relationships, that whole thing. Practical tips for successful digital detox. So one of the most important things you can do while trying to plan a digital detox is setting boundaries, and a big one with this is like designating specific times to use your phone. So again, that's typically like the, hey, no phone after 8 p.m. So say like I go to bed at like 9:15 because I'm a grandma and I wake up at 4:30. So I try to say no phone after 7:30. Doesn't always work, but I do want to get to a point where like I normally eat supper at 7. I would love to get to a point where I don't use my phone. Like my phone gets put away charging at 7 when I sit down to eat supper, and I don't touch it until after the gym the next morning. That is the goal. I don't know how long it's going to take me to get there. It might be a while because I am an undisciplined human being, but I would love to get there. No phone before, I don't know, whatever time works for you. I get up at 4:30 for the gym. I train at 5:15. Typically I'm at work anywhere between 7:30 and 8:15. I would love, again, maybe one day I'll get there, I would love to not use my phone until I get to work, because a big chunk of my job is unfortunately on my phone. I run all of our social media and digital marketing type of thing. So I would love to get to a point where I don't go on my phone until I get to work, because it is like a part of my job. Not there yet, but would love to be. That would be huge. Could you imagine? That would be like 12 hours of my day. Granted, 8 of those I'm sleeping, but still. Like imagine like 12 hours of my day where my phone is not being touched at all. That would be incredible. Other people, no phone Sunday. Would also love to do that. Sunday I tend to be really busy, so it would be nice to not use my phone on Sundays. I have to, for myself personally, I have to try and find a balance between this, because one of my intentions this year, and especially, oh my god, we didn't even talk about the fact that it was October 1st, winter arc thing started. I posted a whole Instagram story about that. If you want to know my thoughts on that, I'll link my Instagram down below. But one of my intentions or goals for the winter arc thing was to be more consistent with social media, whether that was posting stories, posting content, whatever it was. I have to find a balance between limiting screen time, but also improving how frequently I upload. So working on that. But yeah, no phones on Sundays, or a huge one can be not being on your phone or not on your computer or consuming any content while you're eating. Hey, guess what? You should eat dinner at your dining table or at your island, wherever you have a seat and a table. That's where you should eat. I want to stop eating on the couch. I have a really, really bad habit of eating all of my meals on the couch when I'm home. And then I watch TV and I'm on my phone and I'm doing all of these things, and it removes the separation between your health and like the fun parts of your life. Not that your health isn't a fun part, but I'm saying like your meals and what you eat deserve to have intentional time in your day. And when I'm watching YouTube and on TikTok while I'm eating, it removes that focus from like, hey, here's like 30 minutes where I get to just sit and exist with myself and fuel my body, and that's it. So more intentional with mealtime, not being on your phone or watching YouTube or anything while you're on your phone. Track your screen time. As embarrassing as it is, like I will say, I get truly embarrassed when I track my screen time, but it works. I do need to be better at being consistent about it. I find that when I'm getting to a point where I'm like, whoa, Emily, you need to like chill the fuck out with your screen time. I'm really good at it for like 2 weeks, and I set the whole like the screen limit reminders or whatever for certain apps, and then after like 2 weeks I get annoyed of reaching my screen limit every day, so I shut them off. Not the point. You need to do it long term. But yeah, tracking how much time you spend on your phone to identify areas to cut back. Whether that's, okay, you watch a lot of YouTube on your phone through the day, maybe delete YouTube off of your phone, and the only time you get to watch YouTube is if you, again, are intentionally sitting on the couch watching it, or on your computer or something, or whatever it is. Turn off non-essential notifications. I have almost all notifications shut off on my phone. I think the only thing that I have on there is like my mail, like my email, because there's like some work things in there. There's stuff for the podcast that I like have to answer and whatever. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what the notifications are that I have on. Like my texts, but even that, I have focus mode set for like multiple different times of the day. So it's rare that I have notifications on for like everyone. Like certain times of the day, I have notifications enabled for certain people. But that's it. What else? Honestly, like I think that's kind of it. I have my phone call notifications shut off for almost everybody except for my family. Yeah, like there's truly like almost nothing. I almost have no notifications on my phone, which is awesome. It reduces how much I'm like picking up my phone throughout the day, because if I'm getting a million notifications, that is a million times a day that I'm picking up my phone to read the notification, and chances are I'm getting sucked into going somewhere else on my phone. And that's the whole point, is trying to reduce how much I'm doing that. So notifications is a huge one for me. Engaging in offline activities. Read a book. Go for a walk. Pick up new hobbies. We all know that I don't have any hobbies. We're working on it. But things that don't involve screens. Reading is a huge one. People are losing the ability to read written content, and that's scary. So read a book. Whatever type of book it is. I will say, I think it is important to like have some nonfiction reading in your life, like some like self-helpy type ass books, whatever that looks like some good ones, or like, this is not really self-helpy, but Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderson, phenomenal book. What are some other ones? The Mountain Is You. Is that one a book? That's the next one that I want to read. Books like that are more like autobiography type styles, or things that are true occurrences, can help balance the fictional reading that you are, or the fictional content that you're consuming in books. I'm not saying don't read fiction books. Read whatever the fuck you want. However, I think it is really fun and a really cool way to have like mindfulness time through your day to read nonfiction literature, however that looks in your life. Go for a walk. We've talked about this before. Go for like a 10-minute walk, no podcast, no music, no headphones, no nothing. Raw dog your walk, if you will. Also working on that. Finding hobbies that don't involve screens, don't involve having to go on your phone. Remember when I bought that guitar a year and a half ago? And I still don't know how to play guitar. Yeah, I remember that. Oh my god, I have it sitting there. So I remember how irresponsible of a purchase that was, and how much of a piece of shit I am for not learning how to play guitar. I'm kidding. I have it sitting there because it's pretty, but also because it makes me feel bad every day that I didn't actually learn how to play it. So I'm working on it. Phone-free zones in your house, in your life, in your car, wherever. Establishing areas in your life that you kind of have labeled as like phone-free. This is a big one. Your meals. Having your meals and not being on your phone or not consuming content can be a huge one. Or like your bedroom. Don't have your phone in your bedroom ever. Also working on this one. I used to be a lot better about that than I am now. I find that now I like grab my phone in the morning when I wake up and I scroll on TikTok a little bit before I get ready for the gym, or I'm getting ready for bed in my room and I take my phone. Don't do it. Phone should be fucking plugged in. Nope. Phone should be plugged in like right there and not being touched in my bedroom. And like another big thing is like gradual detoxing. You don't have to do this all at once. I'm not sitting here and saying like, hey, you have to go into this, like, here's the next 4 days. You're not allowed to touch your phone for the next 4 days. You can start small by like reducing your screen time by like a few hours for a couple days, and then build up to a full day or a full weekend, or like go on a trip without like constantly checking your phone. You don't have to dive headfirst into this and expect like a radical change. If anything, that's going to make it more difficult. Doing small or step-by-step introductions to this can help make it a more sustainable thing. And sustaining the long-term benefits is the kind of like one of the really important parts of this. Incorporate like regular mini detoxes through your life. Again, maybe that's just you don't use your phone on a Sunday, or like you don't use your phone on Sundays, or you go grocery shopping and that is like an hour of your day that you do not go on your phone, or whatever it is. Little like mini detoxes, if you will, can help make this like a lifetime commitment, and you're gonna have the benefits of this for a lot longer than if you just do like one huge detox and then you never think about it ever again. And reflecting on how the time away from your phone actually impacted your focus, your mood, your relationships, your productivity, whatever else. It's really easy to convince yourself that these things don't work if you don't reflect on them at all. So whether that's like writing it down or even just making a mental note of like, hey, I felt a lot better after this like 6 hours of no phone. Reevaluate which apps or like phone habits you have that are truly beneficial versus ones that drain your energy. If social media apps being on your phone drains your fucking mood because you find that you're constantly going on them all day, every day, don't have them on your phone. If you want to scroll on Instagram, you have to do it on your computer or whatever it is. Obviously, I know that's not realistic for everybody. Half of my job is social media, so they do stay on my phone, but I've graveyarded my phone. Like, there is almost no apps on my phone. I'm so much more intentional with like, hey, if I want to do this, if I want to scroll on this app, if I want to do whatever, I have to go grab my computer, or I have to grab the iPad and I have to do it on the iPad. And for some reason, it helps me separate the like mindless scrolling from an intentional choice that I'm making to consume certain content. The whole gist of this, digital detoxing isn't like completely abandoning technology in your life. We live in a world where you have to be connected somehow, and that's just the reality of it. It is unrealistic to expect people to completely remove technology from their life and still function as a person in society. But it's about finding better balance and kind of reclaiming control over how how you engage with your devices. Again, phone, computer, iPad, TV, smartwatch, like whatever it is. By taking intentional time away from your phone, you can create space in your life for more meaningful experiences and kind of enhance your well-being and your wellness, your mental health, your physical health, and just reconnect with the world that's actually occurring around you and not just the one that your For You page has formatted for you. If you try incorporating like small changes today or tomorrow, see how it changes your mental and emotional health. And if it's making an improvement, which guarantee it's fucking gonna, it makes it easier to want to intentionally do this for a longer, more meaningful amount of time. But anyways, here is your reminder. The life that you see people living on TikTok and on YouTube and wherever else is not necessarily the life that they are truly living. Your For You page is specifically created. Your algorithm knows exactly what type of content you like consuming, and it's going to show you more of that. That doesn't mean that you're seeing more and more people live this flawless life that you're wanting to live. It just means that it's showing you more of that in comparison to the people who live a life that's more like your own. It's important to take intentional time away from the constant consumption of content and algorithm changes, the whole thing. It's so important for your mental health, your physical health, your well-being, your wellness. Every aspect of your life can dramatically benefit from just taking more intentional time away from your phone. Whether it's a day or a week or a weekend, or you go 2 weeks without, whatever it is, however it fits into your life and however you can make it a realistic lifestyle change, do it. Because I guarantee it's going to have positive impacts in your life. And that's the whole point. That is the whole point. That is the whole reason that we're doing this. This is the whole reason that we are trying to better ourselves. The whole reason that we make intentional choices in our life is to better ourselves. And this is just one more choice that you can make to either slightly or dramatically improve a perspective and a corner of your existence. And that's really fucking cool. So anyways, this has been such a rambly episode. Jesus Christ. That's all I've got for this week. Thank you so much for listening. If you're still here, I appreciate you so much. Go follow me on Instagram. Hey from M for the podcast. EB Fit for my fitness, wellnessy, whatever you want to call it page. Emily Brilliard for my personal. I say it every week and I'll continue to say it. We do upload to YouTube. So if you would rather watch your podcasts, go to YouTube. Link will be in the show notes. Leave a like, leave a comment, leave a review, whatever else it is they let you guys do. Doesn't make a big difference for you guys, but it makes a huge difference for me. I'll tell you that much. And yeah, I don't know. I hope you guys have an awesome week. Let me know. My DMs are open all the time. Maybe I'll post a little question box at the end of the week to see how your detoxes this week went. But anyways, that's all I've got for this week. Thank you guys so much for listening. I am so glad to be back, and I am so glad to hopefully, fingers crossed, be doing better mentally so that I can be here more for y'all. So anyways, thank you so much, and we'll chat next week. Okay.